Yo, what is up? Welcome back. Thanks so much for making it this far. As you can tell, I'm dealing with a little bit of weather. The bad news is I forgot my werewolf spray. The good news is the breeze is starting to pick up, so it's going to clear this fog out of here in no time. Anyway, I'm going to show you all the skills that you need to ride this downhill trail. I'm going to slow down the features and then talk through them and give you all the pointers that I can. But I know what you're saying. You're saying, Josh, the chances of me riding this downhill trail are incredibly slim, and that is true. But guess what? This trail has rocks, it's got roots, it's got dirt, it's got turns, it's got jumps, rock rolls, maybe some drops. All those things your trails have, just in a different combination. So stick with me. I'm gonna roll the intro, hoping this fog clears, and we'll get going. All right, peace. I rarely ask for you to hit subscribe, like, or comment, but the only way I really know if these videos are helpful is if you hit subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Otherwise, I go to bed at night wondering if what I did was worth it. Thanks a million. All right, I ran that intro and I still can't believe the fog has not lifted. But guess what, folks? This is mountain biking. This isn't Pixar on IMAX. If you're watching this video on IMAX or even at the Sphere in Las Vegas, I apologize about the quality because we're dealing with low light right now. Now, when you're riding a trail, there are really 3 ways to ride them. Okay, one, you just ride to get down in one piece. Completely cool, completely legit, I get it. We don't want to wear long sleeves for weeks to hide our wounds from our significant others. So if you got to do what you got to do to get down in one piece, that's cool. The other way to do it is to ride the fast lines, okay? So obviously fast lines, self-explanatory. You're trying to utilize the trail and manipulate it in a way to get to the bottom as quick as possible. And you're on the edge of control there, and you're really pushing your limits. The third way is the fun lines. Again, the fun lines, sometimes you're pushing your limits, sometimes you're not. But the idea with fun lines is to just utilize the trail and get the maximum fun out of it, even if it increases the difficulty level, okay? Fun lines can be more difficult than fast lines. Today we're gonna ride it, and we're gonna focus on the fun lines because that's how I like to ride. Fun lines over fast lines. So the trail opens up with this jump. It's a bit of a scooped out tabletop. It's maybe 3 feet tall by 13 feet long, okay? So the approach is somewhat of a medium speed to fast speed section here, so you get plenty of speed to hit it. Now let's remember that when you're coming into a jump with speed, especially a small jump, you do not want to shift back, you do not want to push the bike forward because you will get bucked. So stay forward, stay centered on the bike, keep your chin over your stem and your knees over your toes. I have a video that I posted a few months ago that details everything you need to know about jumping. For that matter, I've done a bunch of videos, so go check those out. So this transition isn't really lippy, so it's absolutely manageable. The only thing that we need to think about as riders is it kind of turns to the right when we land. So we don't want to get super hyped on coming in fast, clear it, and then forgetting that we got a curve to the right and our line takes us into these bushes up here. No bueno. Let's do this. Knees are over our toes, chins over our bars. There we go. The reason why I preach controlling the arc with our body mass is because we always want to be prepared for what's next, okay? In this instance, what's next is just simple single track, but that's not always the case on every trail. So when you control the arc and you control your jump, you land balanced and you land immediately ready to handle what the trail throws at you. So here we got some rocky, chunky stuff. It's wet, so we want to make sure our front end doesn't push out from us. Okay, the goal here is to ride light. You know, the rocks that you don't hit cannot slow you down. Brings us into a turn. Let's go back and look at this turn. So our fast line and our fun line takes us right through this little section here. That's a good 8 inches tall. You gotta watch for pedal clips at all times. So we come out of that rocky section and it brings us into somewhat of a steep, not super steep, I'd say moderately steep bank turns. These bank turns are built super well, so you want to come in high. Coming in high in a bank turn will lessen the angle at which you're going around the turn, and it'll help you carry speed and control through the turn, and it'll help you throw your weight into the bike, into the berm, okay? You're coming around this berm, we're going to stay high on that one, and we're always looking ahead because we don't know what's coming up next. In this instance, we got another berm down here. This one's steeper, and we're kind of dropping down into it. So we pick our line, and we come back up high over here. And we're always looking ahead. We're always anticipating and we're aware of what's coming up next. And to be in control for what comes up next, we need to make sure that we ride that previous section in control. So this turn offers a fun line. The fun line is over this rock here, and it's going to put us really high on this berm. We want to make sure we don't come in too fast because you have very little opportunity to brake when you come off of something like that into a turn. Again, especially in the Northeast, a lot of these turns will wear down to like rock, bedrock type of stuff. Braking's not really going to offer you a whole lot of control and traction. So you want to make sure that your body is in the right position to handle the turn versus brake slowing you down to handle the turn. So we come out of turn number 2. Again, we ride our berms high. And that puts us right to this little rock right here. A sign of a well-built trail is when they leave natural stuff like this that an intermediate or advanced rider will see, and it instantly becomes a gap for them. So we're going to gap from here to just to the left of this tree here. But a less advanced rider can still have fun because you can still ride through here. You may not even notice it, okay? But this is what we're doing. We're riding fun line, so we're looking for this sort of thing. So hit that gap. We want to make sure we come out of this turn high, and we're going to pump through here, and we're really going to pop this. Again, we're controlling that popped arc with our body mass, and that's going to make sure that we are in control when we land, because guess what? We have another bank turn down there. So let's do it. I'm going to omit a lot of stuff on this trail only because it's repetitive type of features, and nobody wants to hear me talk for a long period of time. So if you want to see everything, definitely come out and visit this trail. Experience it for yourself. Definitely worth the drive. Okay, so this is the point where we're coming out of the chunder. We're forward on our bike, okay? We're gonna take it slow so I can talk through it. Now, as I come into this turn, I wanna make sure that my chin is still over my stem. I don't wanna push forward because that's gonna lighten my front end. A light front end is offers way less traction. So we're gonna stay forward. We're gonna bring our outside elbow forward and our shoulder forward a little bit. We're gonna turn our chest through the turn, and we're gonna turn our hips through the turn. On a bank turn like this, unless I'm coming in way too fast, my pedals will probably be level. If I need some added support or grip, I might drop my outside pedal down to the 6 o'clock position. So I'm coming in, my elbow and my shoulder are curved around. I'm low, I'm weighted forward, and I drove right out of that turn, okay? I'm coming in, and I spot this next turn. My line brings me right to the outside, and I do the same thing with my shoulder and my hips. My right shoulder forward on a left-hand turn, and my hips are always to the outside. I lean my bike to the inside, and I push right around and carve right around it. If you do it well, you'll feel kind of like a carving motion where your tires just hook up. So after we come out of the second turn, we want to remember we have that gap that we want to hit. Okay, so we're coming through, pushing to the outside. Here's our gap. There we go. We hit it with control, and we're ready for this next turn and everything after. Try to slow down a second. You can see my fun line brought me over this rock here. There's an alternate fun line right here where you can jump to the bank as well. That will put you in a better line down there, okay? Well, if you land crooked into this chunk, you're gonna immediately battle trying to refine balance, you know? So my suggestion would be to come off that with strong legs. Strong legs mean that don't let the jump push into you. Push equally into the jump so that you don't sink into the bike, because that's a recipe to get bucked. So come off that with strong legs, match that force pushing into you with your legs. Come into this in complete control, and you can really rip down, you know, through this chunk. Okay, we'll take this line to the bank. Coming in forward, light on the brakes. There we go. Okay, when you ride stuff like this, you want to make sure that you lean your bike over to correct your line. You don't want to lean your body, because when you lean your body, what happens is you're reliant on traction for support. When you lean your bike, you rely on your body weight for support. You're not going to find traction for support up in those rocks. So this is more of an advanced technique, but when you're coming through sections like this, you really want to read your line, because you can't be light on your bike all the time. You know, they say be light over the rocks because the rocks you don't hit can't slow you down. Well, you can't be light all the time unless you have balloons in your pocket. So what you have to do is, when you're looking at a section like this, is you have to identify the areas that you can be heavy on the bike. And what that is kind of like pumping, okay? You're heavy, then you go light and skim across some of the more troublesome sections. The more you ride, the more this will come naturally, because there are sections in these rocks where we can be heavy and not be taken off course. What that'll do is it'll help us pump for speed. It'll help us carry our momentum through these rocks, which is super important. And it'll help us be light in the sections where we want to skim over the rocks. We don't want to feel every single rock on the trail. Okay, so the trail brings us to a gap jump. First thing when you ride a gap jump is You want to know that you can clear this gap without relying on speed. I preach this over and over again, but you really want to rely on technique and controlling your mass to clear gap jumps, okay? The reason being is a gap like this, I don't know, 20 feet, you're going to carry a lot of speed into that bank turn if you're just clearing it with speed alone. And you're going to be heavy on those brakes in that turn. It's going to beat up the turn. You're going to sacrifice control, and you're going to risk high berm in it. Because I know that there's a bank turn to the right after, I want to set up to the left of that bank turn. I want to set up wide. So I'm going to jump this to the left. I'm not going to find the smallest gap to clear it. Let's remember, we want to clear this gap first and foremost. We want to come into it controlled. We want to keep our chin over our stem, knees over our toes. I just cleared that jump with a front tire going flat. I felt the squish. Too late to turn back. I committed to it. I pulled up a little higher because I definitely didn't want to nose into that landing. And pulling up like that made for a little rougher landing, but nosing in could have been way worse. So I got to get this tire sorted out, and we're going to pick up right where we left off. Having a tire roll under you when you're coming up the transition of a jump is not ideal, but we didn't hit the ground. That's all that matters. All right, we're reset. We're ready to roll. We respawned here. We got a little air in our tire. We're going to hope it holds. So the reason why I always look around like a meerkat is I recognize that I'm an absolute kook talking into a little black box. I want to make sure that when I do that, I'm not impacting anybody else riding these trails. So I'm always looking for other riders. All right, so there's a little bit of a gap back there. Let's go back and take a look at it. And by gap, I just mean like a section I want to clear. It's not like a gap jump or something. This gap here comes out of the chunder, and we can kind of gap down into this turn here. So we can ride through this should we please to, but if we want to ride fun lines and we want to push our limits, we can gap over this onto that second set of rocks right there. Anytime that we're light coming into a turn, whether we're gapping over something or we're just trying to take some weight off our wheels, you need to realize that when you come in, you really then want to magnify your weight into that turn. So you really want to take advantage of your weight coming back down to the trail and push into that turn. That will give you more traction than if you just rode it at a linear, we'll call it like a linear plane or a linear weight balance, because you're driving your weight into that turn. It's going to multiply your tracciones. Is that Spanish or is that bullshit? I don't know. There, we gapped into it. It wasn't pretty. Again, I'm trying to baby my front tire, especially through this stuff. Here's a perfect illustration where we can weight our bike where the trail will support us to unweight it where it won't support us, and then weight it again where it will support us. These routes, they want to take you to your grave. They want to take you 6 feet under and feed off your decomposing body. But we're not going to let that happen because we're going to be light through those routes. Right here we should be fine. Basically, I just have a big white booger in between me and pushing my bike. We want to avoid all the chunder that we can. There we go, we avoided that. Back forward on the bike. Looking ahead. This is loose right here, very slimy. The reason why I'm stopping is because after the step down gap, it brings us to a fun trail feature, itty bitty rollers, okay? Our goal here is to clear this gap. We're gonna envision an alligator pit here because there's no danger in this hop. So we wanna get to here. So we're gonna make it a fun line. We're gonna see if we got what it takes to pop here. We clear little gaps like this, little bumps. It's more of a bunny hop motion. We wanna push in with our heels into the back wheel. When we lift the front wheel up, our back wheel's still tracking the ground. We want to use that back wheel as a lever. Stand up and push forward with our chest and our upper body and our body mass, and that will drive our arc and hopefully clear the alligator gap. If you're confused, I have videos on how to bunny hop and how to bump jump. All right, let's bump jump this gap. All right, we did it. So as we conclude here, we have a feature that we can ride as a drop, or we can ride it as a small jump or step down. You can absolutely drop this. You could probably even roll it. It looks very tiny on camera right now, and it's not big. But I'm gonna choose to pop off of it and clear this chunky stuff behind it, because again, the rocks that we don't hit can't slow us down. Another thing, it's moist and that rock is green. That's a deadly combination. You want to make sure that you pick your line off the rock and not have to steer, turn, or redirect your tires on that rock. All right, let's do it. That was a smooth landing. All right, finish it off with a bunny hop. That's it, folks.